relatively quiet MSU campus, trying to gain strength for the influx of the 1999 class next month. But Spartan Stadium is anything but subdued today. It houses the 19th annual Michigan High School Coaches Association East-West All-Star Game. How are you, everybody? Glad you could join us here on Fox Sports Net Detroit. My name is Matt Shepard, along with former NFL great Ray Bentley. Hot, humid, hazy here in East Lansing, but this is really the pinnacle of many of these teenagers' high school football careers. Ray, they get a chance to measure themselves against the best of the best.
Yeah, and this is the ultimate. This is what you want. You've got the top 88 players in the state going head-to-head, going to match it up and see how they do. Now, a lot of these guys will be going on and playing college football in a few weeks. 31 of them undecided. I guarantee you they will find a spot on somebody's roster. Now, how did these guys get here? It's easy. They got to be nominated by their high school coach. It's not that easy. It's actually difficult, but you have to be nominated by your high school coach. 88 different players from 88 different schools. You get a couple of positions settled, and then 6 others at large, and all of these players are graduated from high school.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Now, folks, obviously a big thrill for the 44 players on each sideline, but also for the head coaches and their staff. They've been up here for more than a week getting ready for this, but easier said than done.
We have 44 kids, on our team, coming from 44 different programs, 44 different philosophies, 44 different disciplines. And to take young men, from all sorts of backgrounds and that type of thing, and try to blend them and mold them into, a team, it has been very interesting. Fortunately, it's been just a marvelous, marvelous week.
We talked about looking at the guy in the glass, and obviously you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and we talked about at the end of the week, we wanted to be able to look in the mirror and to say to ourselves that we represented ourselves and our family, our school, and our coaching staffs, from wherever they came, to the best of our ability, and to give everything we have this week. And obviously we want to win, but at the end of the week, when we look in the mirror, and if we're pretty positive about what we see, and we've been successful.
As quarterbacks are always the key to a team, even if it's an all-star team. You have Craig Krenzel going to Ohio State, threw 20 touchdown passes last fall. Jim Sorge, he's a good one. He's going to Wisconsin. Sorge threw 19 touchdown passes last year. These guys are top-notch, blue-chip quality quarterbacks.
No question about that. Now, if the East has the skill with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and the tailbacks, the East has the beef, don't they?
That they do. You've got some horses on that offensive line, and Patrick and Brown. Now, Andy Brown, he's going to Michigan. They're not one better in the state, I don't believe, unless you want to look at Joseph Patrick. He's on the other side. These guys are bookends. I look for the West to be able to move the ball on the ground behind this beef here this afternoon.
But how much will the heat play a factor? We told you it's hazy, it's humid. These guys will need plenty of water, plenty of rest. We'll check in on the East and West sidelines when we come back on Fox Sports Net Detroit. And welcome back to the campus of Michigan State University, Spartan Stadium for the 19th annual All-Star Game. The East has won 10 of the 18 and 3 of the last 4. It's better weather for water polo than it is for football. 90 degrees, unbelievable. The West has won and deferred. East will receive. Let's go down to the sidelines. You know Mother Nature will play a factor here. To the East we go. And welcome in Shireen Saski. Shireen?
Thanks a lot, Matt. And you can see the needle is buried here. More than 130 degrees on the field. With me right now, Ralph Carducci, the head coach of the East squad. How are you going to handle the weather today?
Well, we want to make sure we get plenty of fluids in us throughout the ball game. And every time the kids come out the field, they have to get water in them and make sure they stay hydrated throughout the afternoon.
All right, thanks, Coach. Now let's go over to the 4th member of our team, Jamie Samuelson on the west side.
Shireen, thank you. Here with head coach Ralph Munger. Coach, the advantage you have probably is on your size on the offensive line. Talk about it.
Well, hey, we're excited about that. See how well the big boys can play and see how long they can play. So, yeah, we're excited.
See if they can hold up in the heat. Coach, thanks. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Go back upstairs to Matt Shepard.
Jamie, Shireen, we welcome your insights throughout the rest of the afternoon. Folks, a lot like the Hula Bowl, we'll check in with coaches and players throughout the ball game. Phil Brabs set to kick things off deep for C.J. Krieger and Carl Ford, and out of the Spartan end zone as the East takes over at the 20-yard line, going to the south side. Rules a little different, much like, though, the regular high school rules. 4 12-minute quarters. There is a 12-point rule. If a ball club is down 12 points or more, they do have the option of keeping the football. No block punch, your basic 5-2 defense, and, of course, no stunts or blitzes because of really neither team has played with one another long enough to get familiarized. Jim Sorge, the starter, out of Frazier, and as Ray alluded to in the pregame, he'll be headed to Wisconsin 61% of his passes were complete this year. Michael Tennessee gets the first handoff for the East. Maybe a pickup of 1 or 2. Big fellas up front, anchored by Adam Lewis, who's going to Ferris State. He is the center. His ball club at River-Roo went 20-3 with him at that center position. Chad List, one of the wide receivers, along with Michael Tennessee, who broke the Michigan high school record, 456 yards in one game a couple of years ago against Chippewa Valley. Second down and 9, just underway here at Spartan Stadium as Sorgi puts it up for the first time. Down the right side for List, leaps and catches it near midfield and a first down.
That's just a great play by List going up and taking the ball away, because Josh Tarbox had good coverage. He's right on him, and it's a 27-yard pickup. Sorgi, just see, you know, this is not that great of a throw, but you've got a great receiver. So it turns into a good throw. Just throw it up and let him go get it.
Josh Tarbox out of Menominee, a double B in class and an all-UP selection the last couple of years. So 1st and 10 for the East. Carl Ford starts to go in motion before the first hanky falls of the afternoon. Let's set that West defense for you. A defensive line that averages 266 pounds, anchored by Brian Mulcahy. The linebackers includes Adam Supanowski. And the defensive backfield led by Eric Gardner, who had 58 tackles, 4 picks this year for Kalamazoo Central. 1st and 5 after the West penalty. Almost a free play here. Tennessee on the inside draw, and that's the 40-yard line. Near the 38 and another first down the East. Cruising on offense, right?
Yeah, they are. They got a nice mix. You know, they ran the motion. They loosened them up with a pass a little bit. Now, this is just an inside trap. You see right here, here's your trapper coming in. And that's Kurt Kleinow, and he gets a nice block, and it springs Tennessee, just shoots up through the middle.
Monkeys Wedlow, rather, on the tackle for the West, but not before another first down for the East, who continues to move the football with 10:52 left to go in the first quarter of play. And the West jumps offside. One of the big fellas who were getting antsy.
That's Chas Williams. They've got a little early start. Out of Muskegon heading to Toledo, and his coach Dave Taylor says this guy's the best ever that he has ever had, and that's high praise because they have a nice program over in Muskegon.
Absolutely. Had 60 offers from college schools and decided to go to Gary Pinkel's University of Toledo Rockets. So another 1st and 5, and again, another freebie. And as far as the defense, Ray, you hate to be put in this kind of position.
Well, you're backpedaling early, so you gotta have somebody make a play.
Play action, Sorgi on the near side scramble by Eric Gardner, one of the hardest hitters in Kalamazoo Central history, according to Coach Bob Kubiak. Close to the first down. Maybe a pickup of a couple, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 3.
Eric Gardner comes up. Now, this is a bootleg. You're going to fake right here to Tennessee, and Sorgi's trying to get outside and get the perimeter. The guys are covered. I mean, the receivers are covered. So Gardner comes up, and anytime you get a shot at a quarterback, you're going to get excited over here, and that's exactly what they did on the West side.
Although Sorgi's a pretty big fella at 6'5", 185, needs to gain some more weight before he starts taking snaps on a full time for Barry Alvarez.
Still a quarterback, though. When you're a defensive guy, you get a shot at them, you take it.
2nd down and 3. Sorgi, quick drop, little fake, up the right side. Ford alone catches it inside the 10 and out of bounds. Beat John Carafa on the far side. Maybe that little pump had him going one way, right?
Oh, that's definitely what made the cover bite on that, but it's really not Carafa because Carafa's in a zone. Now, he's out here on the top of your screen. He's got the outside, so the pump fake really was for the safety, and the safety kind of held up and didn't get over there to make the play in time, and that's Gardner.
Carafa only had 2 passes completed on him at the defensive back position all season long. 1st and goal for the East. Their first possession of the ball game. Sorgi trying to run through some traffic. Back of the end zone, touchdown! Kevin Zarecki in the back of the end zone, and the East draws first blood.
Sorgi took a shot after he let it go, and he showed you some toughness hanging in there with bodies flying all around him and finding an open receiver in Kevin Zarecki. And it was actually good defense early on. And this is nice defense. You're going to see the contain come right out here, and there's your contain man stopping things up, and that's Adam Piansky, and he actually gets a hit on the quarterback, but you got to give Sorgi credit for standing in there and hitting his receiver in the end zone.
And he threw off the wrong foot, so pretty good arm there by Sorgi. Here's a fake. Sorgi has it again. This is all him, and he'll be dragged down shy of that two-point conversion.
Well, you get 3 trick plays is what you get, where you don't have to disclose to the other team what they are. So that was one of the trick plays for the East.
Dragged down by Travis Wilson of Howell, but not before the East cashes in. A little flip from Sorgi to Zarecki, and the East leads it early, 6-0. The West gets their first crack when we come back. Our drive covering 6 plays in 2.5 minutes in the East. Very impressive with their first offensive possession. They lead the West 6-0. Zarecki, who caught that touchdown pass, kicking off for the East and out of bounds. So pretty good field possession as the West gears up for their first crack at that Eastern defense.
I was very impressed with Jim Sorgi in that initial drive for the East. Wisconsin and Barry Alvarez, they got another quarterback coming in over there, because he was very calm and cool, took hits, and still let that ball go.
You like the way they mixed it up, too, both offensively as far as running the ball and throwing the ball. And talk about throwing the ball, Dan Richard can do it with the best of them. He will be a bulldog at Ferris State next year. Really helps that he knows Ralph Munger's Rockford offense.
And I saw Dan Richard play a couple of times last year, and he can dominate a football game.
A lone setback is Tim James. He carries it, plus a couple of tackles past the 40, up near the 45-yard line. How about the big fellas up front? Ray Bentley talked about Joe Patrick and Andy Brown. Kyle Krosky's not bad either. The best ever offensive lineman at East Lansing. He'll be a Chippewa next year. That's why Ray likes him.
Yes.
Skill positions aplenty there, including Courtney Templeton, one of the better wide receivers you'll find out of Battle Creek Central.
Another explosive guy is number 32, Mario Adams. Keep your eye on him.
Almost 1,400 yards to the ground for Adams this year. James will take it on the ground, though. This is Adams, rather, and he weaves his way up toward a first down.
Adams again carries the ball.
Check out that Eastern defense. The defensive line averages a slight 235, anchored by Hussam Asa, whose defense at Dearborn Fortune allowed just 4.7 points per game. Shante Orr, the stud, as far as linebackers are concerned. He'll play for Lloyd Carr's Wolverines next year. And Scott Genord had 154 tackles at Thurston last season in the defensive backfield. Inside handoff. There it is to James. Another big hole. Big fellas up front moving them back, Ray. Pick up the 8.
It was a trap play where Andy Brown is the guy who's going to be the trap blocker. Now, he's going to come from this right tackle spot. You're going to see him right here. He's going to lead this thing and make the trap block. And then James just breaks off his block. There's your hole. That's nice execution coming from the West offense.
Pickup of 8, and James averages 7.5 per pickup every time he touched the ball for Milan this year. He'll be playing here next year at MSU. First pass attempt by Richard. Complete and a first down to Courtney Templeton. Pickup of 11, and the West continues to move the ball.
Yeah, and I like Dan Richard, his mechanics on that 3-step drop. It's 1, 2, 3, boom, and fire. And this is how you do it right here. And he's got some zip on that ball. He gets it before the coverage can close, and that gives Templeton a chance to show you what he can do after the catch.
Ball resting at the 35-yard line of the East. Richard, as we mentioned, will be winging it for Ferris State next year and has a pretty good shot at competing for a starting spot. Mario Adams up the gut. And again, following the big beef along the left side, Andy Brown and Josh Peters, who go 290 and 265 respectively, give them a +6.
Yeah, you can't go wrong going behind those big guys over there. And the tempo early in this game is very high. They're getting plays off in a hurry. They're moving the ball well. We'll see how long they can last in this equatorial type heat we have here today.
Boomer Hopow checks out. L.J. Parker is fresh for the West. He is split wide left for Richard. On a 2nd down and 4 and a deep handoff. Tim James, boy, look at him bury that shoulder, drilling William Hall, who came up from his cornerback position to pick up 5.
Well, he got extra help because they took Joe Patrick and walked him over to the other side and made him play tight end. And so now you've got him outflanked over here. And at the end of this play, it's nothing but James running through and hitting secondary people.
Flag on the play. It'll be against the East as the referees consult with Dan Richard. Unsportsmanlike conduct and automatic first down. They'll move the ropes down closer toward the goal line. 6-0 East on top. They scored on their very first possession.
One of the things the West is doing is they're flip-flopping offensive linemen. You see they got 1, 2, 3 over here, and this is Patrick. Now, it's an offensive tackle lineup in the tight end spot, plus they have a wing. They're trying to outflank and confuse the East defense.
It's almost unfair, isn't it?
Yes.
Richard, deep handoff to Damian Bridges for the goal line. Touchdown.
You know, I'd love to tell you it was great blocking, and it probably was, except that Bridges outran his blockers to the corner. No, I mean, nobody could get there. He had a couple guys moving out in front of him. Krosky, 75, was one of them, but Bridges just blew past everybody. I mean, those guys don't have a chance to block because Bridges just flies by everybody.
His 21st touchdown of the season.
Now, here's the big block, is the cutback. L.J. Parker with a crackback. Now, he's not able to knock his man down, and that's Scott Genord, but he's able to stop him from flowing over there and getting contained.
Sometimes that's all it takes. Phil Brabs, all it takes is a swift straight kick to give the West the lead, and he does. 7-6, the West counterpunch the East. Don't go away. This one figures to be a high-scoring affair in East Lansing. The West on top by a point.
Both offenses have come out, Matt, and impressed me with the execution. I haven't seen anyone really make a big defensive play yet. And it's going to be offenses all day unless one of these defenses can rise up. But I tell you, the defense is at a disadvantage in this because there are no stunts allowed. And a lot of times the defense, that's how they make their hay, is blitzing people and looping people around and doing things of that nature. Now, the only thing they can do that's really akin to a stunt is they can slant that front line one way or another. Here's another look at the touchdown, and you got Josh Peters and Kyle Krosky both out there trying to lead the sweep, but Bridges just ran past both of them.
I was going to say, we talk about the beef, but these guys are quick of feet, too. They can get out there and pull for these guys, and that's a major advantage when you're as big as these guys are. And maybe that's the reason that Krosky's going to CMU and Peters will play for the Lakers of Grand Valley State. Brabs will kick it back again, now 3 deep for the East. That includes Michael Tennessee, who watches it sail all the way out of bounds. And another big leg for Phil Brabs, who is playing at U of M, or hopes to play at U of M anyway this coming fall.
And look at this helmet. I mean, you got all kinds of funny stuff going on. These guys, I think they got to take their helmets home and decorate them whatever way they wanted to.
That's really what it's been all about all week long, and getting a chance to know some of the better high school football players in the state, maybe guys that you didn't know very well before, and suddenly you've kindled a friendship.
Yeah, and you're sharing logos on helmets and doing all kinds of stuff.
Craig Krenzel will take his first snap out of Sterling Heights. Henry Ford. Pitch back and snuffed out there pretty well by Travis Wilson.
Yeah, that's just great pursuit on the defense from Wilson. It's going to be you're going to run the option, and they're going to take it away. You take the dive away, and then what happened is that penetration makes the pitch happen so late that it buys time for the rest of the defense to pursue and get over there and limit the game.
Reggie Spearman out of Westland John Glenn, more than 4,000 yards in his high school career.
And 48 touchdowns in that career, and that's not too shabby.
We talked about Krenzel, and he will play at Ohio State along with Ricky Bryant out of Harrison. Harrison, the near side, split wide. Krenzel will throw. Finds Tennessee, good juggling act, and able to bring it down and steps out of bounds. We'll see if he's got the first down, maybe a pickup of 10.
Mike Tennessee.
But let's see where they mark it. Yeah, they'll move the ropes for him.
Yeah, Mike Tennessee kind of juggled this. What they're doing, they're going to send Bryant deep and try to clear it out, and then Tennessee just comes out of the backfield and they dump it off, and they stretch you vertically and then hit you where that stretch is underneath. This is a nice design on the play, and a good job of Tennessee of hanging on to it. Krenzel can whip that football.
Both those guys from Sterling Heights, different high schools, but they've been friendly for a while. As a matter of fact, they went to Acapulco together.
Really?
Just this past year. And of course, depending on who you ask, who's crazier, they'll blame the other, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tennessee runs into a roadblock there, didn't he?
Yeah, that was Mike Gall.
Mike Tennessee with the ball.
And Gall showed you some Gall standing in there and making a big hit.
There's Ricky Bryant,
And Michael
Mr.
Gall,
Everything at Harrison.
along with Mario Adams.
Helped guide them to a state championship. But again, we'll play for John Cooper and Ohio State along with Krenzel.
Yeah, how'd we let those guys get away and head down there to John Cooper?
Tell you what, you look at the
I'm telling you.
wide receivers that Ohio State can boast about at the NFL level. That might have had something to do with Ricky Bryant's decision. Tony Lull in motion. Krenzel, good job to elude one tackler. Downfield to Nick Brzezinski wide open and into West territory. 23-yard pickup, a huge throw and catch.
Yeah, Brzezinski does a nice job of busting into the open, but this is all set up with the play action from Krenzel. Now here's your tight end right here, and he's just going to drag across. Everything else is coming that way. And now all of a sudden the defense gets kind of, they're squatting on their heels with the play fake, and it's a nice job of Brzezinski running past everybody.
Boy, Franco Feely, the linebacker, would love to have another crack at Krenzel there. 6'4", 205, the quarterback with a big frame, and the lead handoff before the flag falls.
Yeah, I think it's holding. They tried to run a trap on the inside.
It'll be exactly what Ray said, holding on the offensive line.
Go, big boy. Take control.
Right here's going to be your holding right there. And it's a double team, so you got to wonder. But there it is. See how he's got the arm wrapped around right there? They're going to call that one on you every time. And now it started out as a good block, but what happened is the defender finished harder than the offensive player and forced him to hold him.
Curtis Vargo out of Unionville Sebowing. An honorable mention all-state selection a year ago with the hold, and that pushes the East back. Now 2nd down and 20 on their own 45. Krenzel loves this situation. He's got to throw up top. Intended for Bryant and broken up there by Eric Gardner. A little high.
Yeah, that was just an adrenaline throw from Krenzel. He had Bryant running a post inside, and Krenzel stands in there. And maybe he felt this coming, because he takes a wallop after he lets go of this thing. And it's one of those high-low bend-em-back deals. You hate to see that.
Look at the gaudy numbers he put up at Utica Henry Ford. 20 touchdowns, 1,700 yards plus.
55% completion rate.
And a smart kid, too. He wants to get into pre-med, and that's a big reason he's going to Columbus. Throw again on 2nd down and long. Boy, the pocket just collapsed on him there. Dragged down by Derek Steelstra.
Yeah, and Chaz Williams is the guy who kind of got the initial pressure. I mean, he comes flying in. You're going to watch him right here on this side. He's going to be the guy who gets the initial pressure coming up inside. Right there he is, and now he forces it, and now the pressure comes from the backside. That's just good rush. Steelstra finishes the play off, but everybody had rush on that. But you know what? It's 2nd and 20. I mean, you lay the ears back, and you're coming after him. You know they're going to throw the football.
Same situation here, you would think. 3rd down and 25. Ball resting on the East 40-yard line. They trail by a point with 4:25 left to go in the first.
Yeah, I look for probably a trap play here to just try and get some respect back.
Krenzel wants to air it out.
There's a screen.
Screen to Tennessee. He's got some blockers, too. Kid with speed up past the 50 and into West territory, but not even close to the original 1st down marker. Give him +12, but still a long down situation, which will force the first punt of the afternoon.
Yeah, you're going to see these two guys right here. They're going to check and then come out here in the screen. There they go, and it's set up nicely. You got a blocker for each guy, and now you got Tennessee in the open field. He picks up a couple blocks, and now the pursuit has to come, but that's a nice execution of a play.
Joel Bolzman will stand at his 40-yard line to kick it away to Eric Gardner, who comes up and fields it at the 6. He'll come near side, has himself a seam at the 25. Look out! He's got a beat, and he's gone. 94 yards to pay dirt, no flags.
What a return from Eric Gardner. And you know, he did have some blocks. I'm not going to say it's all Gardner. It's good execution. But, boy, when he got into that open field, when he broke the first wave, when he gets open over here and breaks through the first wave, look out, because he'll show you the speed he's got now. And then the cutback move right here where he avoids the only chance. The punter is the only guy who had a chance is Bolzman, and he beats him, and it's to the barn. That's a huge play. And great speed from Gardner.
So we talked about the West and their size, but they're showing some skill as well. Phil Brabs set to add the extra point. His ball club up 13-6. Special teams, I mean, we talked about it before. Special teams, very important as well. You can always talk about speed and size, but special teams are one of those factors. A flag on the play.
Special teams are always the wild card in a game like this because you never know what's going to happen.
A personal foul roughing the kicker, and they will get that set to go on the ensuing kickoff. 13-6 rather. West on top by 7. We're back with more after this from Spartan Stadium on Fox Sports Net, Detroit.
All right, the big block, or maybe it was a hole. Devin Quinn, number 3, you're going to see on Gardner's return come into your picture right here. Now, that's the key block that springs this thing. That's the one that has a chance. He's got his hand around the back, but he's got the other hand up front. So that's kind of, you know, sometimes that'll be called holding, sometimes not. But what it did was give Gardner a chance. Now, here is your roughing the kicker on the extra point, and that's a good job of acting. I mean, Brabs, that's a nice job of acting.
C.J. Krieger got a forearm on him, and he decided to fall down. It did go through, though. 14-6, West on top. And Brabs can really show off his leg now if he wants to. Not that he hasn't already. Both his kickoffs have gone through the end zone, but now it sits at the East 45-yard line. Maybe he'll give somebody in the stands a free football. Maybe he'll try to put it through the uprights again.
Yeah, he could do it.
There it is.
And it's no good. Was it good?
Sure looks like it from here.
Maybe a wide left a little bit. I couldn't tell from this angle, but it certainly had the distance.
People have complained that U of M has not been able to attract the big leg kickers. But if Phil Brabs continues this way, kicking in the big house, I'm sure Lloyd Carr will be very, very happy.
And he's got acting skills, too, and that can never be underestimated.
Not for a kicker. And he punts the ball, too. We should make note of that. Not only does he kick, but he's a punter. Jim Sorgi has returned at quarterback for the East, and you get the feeling that maybe Ralph Carducci will flip-flop his quarterbacks depending on the drive.
West.
And a timeout for the West on the sidelines.
The rest of those cheerleaders.
Yeah, it didn't look like the defense was set, and rather than give up something big, when you've got momentum, take that timeout, make sure you got things right.
Ralph Carducci, who's had his guys here since Friday, visiting hospitals and senior citizens, all good, solid work by these young men. Great athletes and great people. Let's go down to the sidelines on the West side and welcome in Jamie Sanders. Jamie?
Well, Matt, speaking of great athletes, Eric Gardner ran it back for the touchdown. Did you catch your breath yet, Eric?
Not really. That's why they set me out real quick.
Tell me about the run back. A lot of times we haven't played with guys like you played with. You don't know the blocks they're going to set, but it looked like a textbole run back there.
Yeah, we just got to do basically a couple punt returns, just either left or right. So went right that time, and they opened up for me.
Tell me about the week as a whole. Has it been a great time getting to know these guys practicing up here at MSU?
Yeah, it's been a good week and good experience working with other people. I mean, it's just like going to a college, some new faces and stuff, new offense. It worked out pretty good.
How hot is it down here? It feels hot just standing here. I can't imagine running around on the field.
Yeah, it is, you know. But we've been practicing on here, too, so good advantage for us.
Well, Eric, congratulations on the run back. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, Matt Shepard, back up to you.
Sure seems like he would be more winded from people tackling him at the end, his own teammates, than running 94 yards, right?
That's when he took the hit. A lot of times it's a friendly fire that gets you worse. But it seems like a real nice kid is Eric Gardner, heading to Joliet Junior College.
They got themselves a find. They'll love to be able to watch this tape. Sorgi on 1st and 10, trying to get his East team back into it. He led him on the first touchdown drive along the right end. Now back up the middle. Quarterback putting his head down and sniffing out the sticks to pick up 10.
Yeah, Sorgi shows you some of that speed that he has. They say he runs a 4.740. But what happened, he gets flushed outside early because his receiver, Ford, is going to come open right here. Look at him. He's going to be open deep. But Sorgi just can't get set to make that deep throw. He gets forced out of the pocket.
Frazier has had some outstanding teams in the past. Had some outstanding quarterbacks, but Jim Sorgi has the school record for 2,903 yards tossing and 31 touchdowns. It's saying an awful lot when you look at some of the names that have taken snaps for that school.
I think that was one of the trick plays that they have in there, trying to run Carl Ford on a little inside trap reverse play. Get everybody going one way and head back the other with a speedy guy like Ford.
Well, his head coach, of course, Ralph Carducci, who is the head coach of this East squad. So maybe the coach is trying to get his star player. Not a feel-good day here on a hazy, humid afternoon, although the clouds continue to roll our way here at Spartan Stadium. There is the mild threat of some wet stuff, which I'm sure these players would welcome at this point.
Well, we may have some weather before it's over.
Sorgi, quick shot across the middle. Zarecki had his paws on it, but dropped it.
Yeah, that's a nice throw. I mean, Zarecki has got to catch that one. That was a bullet shot, and it's a bootleg pass. And this is a tough throw for Sorgi, too, because he's a right-hander, but he's rolling to his left. And he still puts some sting on this ball. And that's right into the hands, and it looked like Zarecki was waiting for somebody to pop him a little bit and took his eyes off the football.
And Devin Quinn and Eric Gardner were both there to greet him. That'll bring up 3rd down and 8. Ball resting on the 32-yard line. West on top, 14-6. A touchdown drive and a 94-yard kickoff return for score. Sorgi, play action. Quick dump to Ford. Didn't get enough on it. Threw it behind him, and they'll be forced to punt again.
Yeah, it was good coverage, though. I think it was Karki, the middle linebacker, stayed right on the back coming out of the backfield, and it showed color. And when you show color, it makes it more difficult for that quarterback to get it in there.
That'll welcome in Joel Bolzman, standing at his own 20-yard line to kick it deep to Jason Chenard, and also to number 12, Courtney Templeton. Chenard, a very interesting story.
Well, where's Gardner? He already's got one return for a touchdown. They're resting him.
Yeah, a little winded. Bad punt on the far side, not even past midfield. You hurt yourself there. Just a punt of 14 yards. Bolzman didn't do the East any favors there as the West takes over again with solid field position.
Well, the thing for Bolzman, though, is, hey, they didn't return that one for a touchdown.
Yeah.
You know, eliminate that probability.
All right, we get a chance to see Kevin Cox for the first time. He'll take the snaps for the West on this drive. Cox out of Ypsilanti Lincoln. Out there because Matt Jakeway on a basketball scholarship wasn't allowed to play. So Cox in his own right, a solid passer and a handoff to the deep back. And Jason Chenard is dragged down. Jason Chenard out of Norway.
They tried, I'm sorry, Matt, they tried to run the trap play, and the penetration, well, that'll kill a trap anytime. And it ended up to be C.J. Krieger who made the defensive play. But you get penetration, they're trying to run a trap, and now all of a sudden the back has to redirect, and he can't pop that hole quick like he wants to, and that gives other defenders a chance to rally up and make a play.
Chenard, just a tiny kid, but has proven himself in this week plus of participation with some of the bigger players from bigger schools. Fumble, Cox. Good poise to pick it up and dropped down inside the 45-yard line. Tough situation there. Not a tough situation for a couple of guys from the East, though, as we look.
Paul Priest.
Yeah, Paul Priest right there. He's the guy who gets the penetration. But that thing was kind of messed up from the start because Mike Holloway, number 13, was late getting onto the field, so there was confusion, and all of a sudden the concentration isn't there. You have the fumble, and now it's an easy play for the defense, and Paul Priest just hops right on it.
Paul Priest putting the pressure on there. Now a 3rd down and long situation. They'll give it inside to Tim James. Not a whole lot happening there in the East. Defense holds for the first time this afternoon.
And the defenses now have kind of settled down, and there's flags that are coming in. I think you got a little bit of extracurricular going on here.
Courtney Templeton is in the midst, and of course, when you get in a little verbal jab here or there, you don't want to go in the opposing huddle, do you?
Yeah, no. not without bringing somebody with you. Right. Templeton, here he is, and he's just finishing a play, but I guess they didn't like what happened here. Oh yeah, that was just kind of a friendly shot. I don't think that a whole lot was meant by that, but Steve Hensel kind of just wrapped him upside the head, and Templeton didn't like it, and then they got it mixed up.
This depends on what he said when he smacked him on the back.
That's always true. But you know what? It's always the second guy,
right,
who gets caught and gets in trouble.
That's a big favor for the West, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I always used to start fights. You know, if the second guy gets in trouble, why not?
And as a linebacker, and as big as you are, you don't mind starting him with a wide receiver either, do you?
No, not at all. Those are the guys you look for.
Courtney Templeton, 5'8", 150. Giving away a little bit of weight, a little bit of height, but the scrappiness is there, and I guess it paid off for the West. They'll be staring at a 3rd down and 1 with the ball sitting at the 37. And before actually we jump the gun and say it's a 3rd down and short yardage situation, let's see the flags and see what they say.
Yeah, I think they're going to measure it to make sure.
Sure looks like he's got it.
He's got it.
That's what the referee indicates. And the East needs to call timeout. You better believe what Ralph Carducci and his staff are telling his guys right now. Let's not retaliate, okay? Let's hold our poise, hold our composure.
Yeah, and let's get fired up and do something. I mean, I know it's hot and everything, and you're down right now by 8 points, so let's make a play. Let's not do something stupid and get ourselves out of this one early. Because they're here to win. I mean, don't fool yourself. This is great. It's an all-star game. It's fun, and everybody gets to know each other and all that stuff. But everybody's here to win. I mean, that's why they are here.
All right, a lot of skilled players involved in this game, including Ricky Bryant, one of the best in the business out of Farmington Hills. Harrison, you saw him right here on Fox Sports Net Detroit in the state championship when he set all kinds of records. Had a couple of touchdown catches, caught 6 balls for 146 yards. Folks, that is a Class A finals record. Harrison, state champions again. And to boot, he also had an interception on defense as Harrison rolled over Ray Bentley's alma mater, Hudsonville, 35-13 at the Pontiac Silverdome. Shireen Saski now joins us from Ricky Bryant's sideline. Shireen?
Thanks a lot, Matt. I'm here with Ricky Bryant and also with Craig Hensel. Both of you going to Ohio State, reporting on Wednesday. What made you decide to go Ohio State?
It was a lot of different things. The coaching staff is real friendly, and they don't promise anything like a lot of other coaching staffs do. There's an opportunity to play there, and also going pre-med, they have a very good medical program, so that's why I chose Ohio State.
You two have been together for the summer, and now you've been working out all week. Maybe things to come for the fall. How is the chemistry with you?
I mean, we're pretty close. I've gotten to know him this summer, and we got together, we threw the ball, we lifted weights, and we got pretty close. So we're good friends now, and that'll help in the future.
Now, your brother plays at Michigan. How are you allowed to go to Ohio State?
I mean, we're close also. I mean, he said wherever I go, he's happy if I'm happy. So, I mean, we'll fight later on in the year, but right now we're going to be cool for the summer.
And a number of skilled position players have gone on to the NFL from Ohio State. Let's go back to Matt Shepard.
All right, Shireen, thanks a lot. And you're exactly right. Not to mention the wide receivers specifically that Ricky Bryant looks up to. Guys like Chris Carter, Joey Galloway, and of course Darryl Boston, most recently from Columbus.
Well, there's some talent over there. I mean, all over this field there's talent. But those two guys heading to Ohio State, that's I wouldn't be surprised to see them hooking up for years to come.
Deep handoff to Damian Bridges. Look at that East defense get all over him, and then maybe the coaching staff said something that ignited a little fire in the East as they drop him way back.
Somebody lit a fire because the East defense is looking like the beast defense right now. You had Paul Priest coming in and making another play. Patrick Cleo, he was in there deep making a play, and now this West offense is just heading backwards.
And they need to talk things over. They call a timeout. They're still up by 8, but going the wrong direction. So he's getting comfy with a Spartan life early on as he gets set to report to camp later on this week. Frenzel staring at a 3rd and 14. I don't know if he got that play off, Ray.
I don't believe he did. They ran out of time on the play clock.
There's the delay of game. 8:09 left to go in the second quarter. We talked about where these guys are going and some of the big schools. Ray alluded to that in the open. Number of guys coming right here to be Spartans.
Yeah, and I think it gives these guys a great advantage coming here a week early and just getting used to the surroundings and getting to know each other, start to build relationships, because it is a very tough transition to go from high school into a first-year college football player.
Nick Saban is here watching a number of his recruits. Quinn with a pressure. Wraps him up. Krenzel, pretty good job of getting it away, but they'll call, I believe, intentional grounding there.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Devin Quinn from his outside linebacker position, quick to the ball. Boy, he's got a lot of speed off the outside.
Yeah, well, this play worked the first few times the East tried it. Now the West is onto it, and they're just being aggressive and attacking this thing. I mean, everyone's going to get upfield, and attack this and not buy the fakes. And now Quinn just keeps coming on his rush. And right here, you know, you could make a case for him being down already by contact, and then there wouldn't be the penalty. And Krenzel just trying to make the smart play, throw it away, and avoid the loss.
He's getting a lot of pressure here in this second quarter of play.
Well, you know, Quinn wasn't really, you know, you're not supposed to blitz, but he was already committed. He's coming up to take on that run fake. And so if you're doing that, then it's fine to just continue on your path and be a football player, and that's what Quinn did.
Kevin Zarecki will step back and punt things away for the East. He'll stand just inside his own 10-yard line. Zarecki with a touchdown catch already here today to give the East what was then an early 6-0 lead, but since then it has been all West. Offensively, defensively, and special teams. Templeton and Chenard are back deep to receive it. Templeton at the 43-yard line. Eludes one tackler, comes near the sideline, and drilled by Krieger out of bounds.
I think he got holding. It was some kind of an illegal block on the West on that return.
38-yard kick and a 6-yard return.
You know, and the nice thing about the kick was the hang time. I mean, that was popped up in the air. I think your illegal block was just prior to that. It was actually on the running down the field, a little holding on the outside gunner guy.
They wouldn't have called that on Chenard, would they? It looked like his helmet was on the front part of.
Yeah, I don't think it was from the behind. I think he had the arm wrapped around him.
I see.
And Dan Richard comes back in at quarterback, and he's the only one really who's gotten this West offense moving. Kevin Cox, while he was in there, they weren't able to get things going. But they really didn't give Cox a chance to throw the football either.
First down, on the left.
There's his high school coach at Rockford, Ralph Munger. Dan Richard able to lead his ball club to the state championship game before they came up short. Deep handoff to Tim James, tries the far side, maybe a pickup of 2 or 3. West trying to chew some clock here and keep the offense in flow.
Yeah, Cy Cadu, the middle linebacker, showed you a nice burst because it was just basically a foot race. Him taking on James, running to the corner, and they met right there at the corner, just a 1-yard gain.
Munger hoping his big nasties up front can clear the way. That's what he's expecting here this afternoon, and so far they've done the job. Richard wants to throw out of the pocket, off balance, and short arms it a little bit. A lot of pressure that time from the East, including Hussam Asa out of Dearborn Fordson.
And Richard's looking for L.J. Parker. Now, Parker, you're going to see him. He's going to come in over here on that side of the screen. Now, it's not there quick because a nice expansion on the route by the inside backer. Now, here he comes open, but the pressure's already there, and Richard can't get it to L.J. Parker. And L.J. Parker's a great story out of Ottawa Hills. 3 times All-City in Grand Rapids. Had to play some quarterback last year. Even though he's been an All-City wide receiver for 3 years, he had to play quarterback because they needed him on the team to do that.
Well, Ralph Carducci could use some points. He's down by 8 and staring at a 3rd and long when we come back on Fox Sports Net Detroit. Of the 19th annual Michigan High School Coaches Association All-Star Game, the West on top 14-6. They have scored 14 unanswered points. Dan Richards with a little Statue of Liberty play. Mario Adams breaking some tackles and fighting off some defenders, scratching and clawing his way toward that first down yard marker. Maybe a little short. We'll give him 10.
And Adams may have gotten the first down with the extra effort at the end of this run, but this is the old reach around draw play. I want you to watch Adams. He'll just sit there, and now Richard will reach around the other way and slide it in there. And see how he stopped and waited and tried to sell that pass a little bit more?
He sold it well.
Yeah, that's a tricky play, and one of the 3 trick plays that the West has. And now those trick plays that you have 3 trick plays that you don't have to disclose to the other side, and you can run them as often as you'd like.
It's a good point. They had to turn those playbooks in when they first got here to disclose it to the other ball club. Adams gets the call again. A little spurt into East territory and a gain of 4.
Yeah, and Adams never gives up on a run. I mean, he'll think he's down, you'll think he's down, and boom, he just keeps getting extra yards, and that's how he got the first down, and he picked up a couple extra yards on this run. So you got to make sure that you wrap and stay with him as a defender, or he'll burn you.
Boomer Hopow is checked into the West lineup, replacing Courtney Templeton, and he is split far right at the top of your screen on a 2nd down and 6. Man in motion, and the give to James. James near side, breaks the tackle. Corralled from behind, and a flag on the play. One would assume it's a face mask. Shante Orr drags him down, but not before James gains 23.
Yeah, this is good running from James. There's your face mask at the end of this thing. But this is just James beating it around the corner. Now he's got 2 guys, both guards pulling out in front of him. There's some nice blocking. Now he uses his speed to blow past the defenders, and there's your face mask at the end of it.
Josh Peters, good job pulling.
Yeah, he had Peters and Krosky, I think it was, out in front of him, running that both 2-guard sweep, and it looked real nice. They cleared a nice path, and now you tack on the penalty yardage, and the West is back in business.
Boy, if I'm James, I'm just feeling fortunate that I was able to get up after that one.
Yeah.
Because they got him from behind. His knees buckled a little bit, bent him back.
Penalty takes the ball.
Ralph Munger watching his club with a personal foul. First time that's happened. It's happened a couple of times to the East.
You see how Munger covered his mouth when he was talking to an assistant of coaches? Those are habits that they have. They don't want anyone over on the other side reading lips.
Jason Chenard reads the defense well to pay dirt. Oh, what a beautiful run. 13 yards, and the West cashes in again.
That was a great cut from Chenard. I mean, he gets the trap, he runs it up into the middle. And I want you to watch this cut that he's going to make, because he's going to run it. Now it's just straight ahead blocking with a tackle trap right there. And watch that cut right there. Boom. He sees it outside. Boom. He is gone. That's a great explosion. But the block, the key block was the tackle trap. And then down at the end right here, that's a nice block to finish things up as well by Hopow.
A lot of speed to the end zone cone. Perez's extra point is rock solid. 21-6. The West is threatening to run away with it. The kid from the UP, his first touchdown of the All-Star game to give him a big lead. The West All-Stars now boasting a 15-point lead after the touchdown spurt from Jason Chenard. They lead it now 21-6. 21 unanswered points for Ralph Munger's Western All-Stars, and they are really moving the ball well with a guy like Dan Richard at quarterback.
Yeah, and they're using a lot of different other guys, skill guys, to make it happen. Now, Chenard had that last one, and you talked about him as being a kid from the UP who really didn't know if he was good enough to compete at this level. Well, I guess what? He is.
Yeah, he's proven himself not only in this game already, but also in the entire week of practice. He was very nervous coming here, wondering if he could play with the big fellas, the guys who both state championships from Harrison and things like that. Instead, he comes here, realizes he has the speed and the ability to play with them and maybe even outshine them at times.
Yeah, and he's rung up some incredible stats. He's ran for over 1,000 yards in 3 consecutive years. His touchdowns go from 8 to 15 to 22 last year, so the kid can play.
Absolutely. You don't boast those kind of numbers without knowing how to run the football. C.J. Krieger will take it to the 7. Here's a trick play. Hand off to Carl Ford. He's got to beat some people, but he's sprinting down the near sideline. He's got a gate in front of him, and he could go all the way. Instead, pushed out of bounds by Brabs at the 26, maybe 27-yard line. The East getting an answer from their special team. So 46-yard return from Carl Ford.
Yeah, and there's another one of those trick plays that you talk about that you have in.
27-yard line.
The key to it is to turn your back. And right here, there's your guy C.J. Krieger. Now, who's got the ball? That's the whole question. You know, where's that peanut? Which shell is it under? It's the old shell game, and Ford ends up with it and brings it out the other way and puts the East in great position.
And then they let Ford use his speed to break loose. Big gainer, 46 yards. Michael Tennessee trying to bust loose as well. Close to the 20-yard line. Everybody's been watching the West, but the East is starting to show some offense too. Let's go to the last Western offensive hero, Jason Chenard, who's downstairs with our Jamie Samuels.
All right, man, you told his story this week. Jason, you came here as a defensive player. Here you are scoring another touchdown. Talk about the transformation from defense to offense you've gone through just this week.
This week, we started out at D-back, and I returned the punt earlier in the practice, and they took me and moved me to tailback. That's where I normally play during the season, so it was easy transferring over.
Matt talked about your confidence. To talk about that, how it's grown just since you got here last Saturday.
Oh, it's grown a lot. I didn't know how well of a player I was, so this week I've been kind of, testing things out, and I ended up, being one of the better players. I can play with these guys.
Good. Jason, good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for joining us. Matt Shepard, back up to you.
Jamie, good stuff. Jason Chenard will take his talents to Saginaw Valley State University this coming fall. That's where the Lions are practicing now. In the meantime, while Jamie was talking with Jason Chenard, the East fumbled the ball backwards and were able to pounce on it.
Yeah, the East also had an illegal motion penalty on the thing. That would be declined. They'll let the play stand. And now, from what looked like a promising drive, another mistake, and it's 3rd and 11.
It's 3rd down.
Are you at the point now, Ray, where even if you don't pick up any yards here, you go for it on 4th down, or do you try?
Absolutely, this is 4-down territory, particularly when you trail 21-6. Late in the second quarter, you got to go for it.
Adam Urbanchik and Michael Tennessee are deep behind Sorgi, who will throw. Goes far sideline, has a lane, but it's closed quickly by Travis Wilson as he knocks him out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
Well, it looked like he had Kevin Zarecki open just momentarily in the end zone, but again, Sorgi's running around, so he can't throw the ball. Here they're going to run the bootleg action, fake there, and he's going to come out here, and here's who he's looking for, here and here. And you see right here,
you're right.
He's wide open, but the problem is Sorgi can't set to throw the ball when he's running to his left. And I think his eyes were more on the guys coming up to get him than where that receiver might have been.
That'll do it to you when Travis Wilson at 6'2", 215 comes breathing down your neck. You see the miscues by the East have hurt him so far. 7 for 78 yards. See how damaging that last one was on 4th down. Sorgi with a guard pulling and a flag down will tuck it under and be short of the first down. But again, there is laundry on the carpet.
And I think the penalty will be on the East, and Kevin Zarecki got just a bit of an early start. And he tried to run actually back across, and it was going to be a throwback to him, and he got a little excited and went early. Here's your illegal motion right there. He just got a little bit of an early start. And see, he's coming over here. And what he's trying to do is give Sorgi a chance to throw all the way back. The problem is the pursuit comes, and Sorgi's never able to do it. But he had Zarecki open on the throwback. And they'll just decline, and it'll be West ball.
So the momentum continues to stay with the red jerseys. They lead it 21-6 and hold on defense. Well, that's a big hold, too.
It is, especially after the kickoff return that put the East in such good field position. And now, you got to hold for a turnover. And I know that's what Coach Carducci's over there saying, listen, we got to get a turnover. We got to shake this thing up. Now, that East defense, a couple series before the last one, played inspired football. And that was when Cleo came in and got them pumped up, and Priest was making some plays. Those guys have to get that defense up and try to force a turnover.
Maybe more importantly, too, is the East defense would like to get off the field as quickly as possible. They've been logging a lot of carpet time recently, and there's a big stick on Mario Adams.
Yeah, Scott Genord
Mario Adams on the ball.
comes comes up. Now this is just kind of a slow moving play. You're going to get a trap right there, just a little fold block, and they break it outside, and Genord isn't fooled, and he just comes flying in and makes a good solid hit. Here he is right here. Watch him come up, make this hit. Wham! That's how you play linebacker right there.
Had some help from Craig Jobe, the big fella who's 6'2" and 260. Second down and 11. Another inside handoff and a spurt into the open. Damian Bridges with a big pickup and a first down for the West. 16 yards.
You know, the high school game up front is so much of a trapping game. I mean, that's where you get it done. And when you get offensive linemen coming around and trapping right here, boom, here comes your trap, and that's Mike Jones, and he just sets it up. And now you get a running back that's got a little crack, and that's Ben Holder. Now, forget it. I'm sorry, that's Bridges, but now that's the way it works. That's how you do it. They got a double team over here. They just buried the guy right out of the screen.
Followed Andy Brown, too. Bridges boasting a lot of numbers himself. 1,600 yards and 20 touchdowns this past season at Lansing Eastern. Gets the call again and dragged down shy of the 40-yard line, a gain of 6.
Yeah, excuse me, you're right. That was Andy Brown that led that last trap. And when you have offensive linemen like this West squad has, you got to take advantage of that. So you get Josh Peters and you get Andy Brown and Kyle Krosky and Joe Patrick running around and making those trap blocks, and that's huge. And then you know you have a center like Cedric Ford. He's your double team guy, and he's the guy who's got to make the calls and make sure everyone gets it going at the center position. This is one heck of an offensive line right here.
Sure is. Second down and 4. They are really controlling the clock, too. Here's Chenard trying to use his speed to the outside, balances up and cuts back in across the grain, shy of the original down marker, but it was fun to watch anyway.
Yeah, and the big guys are getting a little tired pulling around, and also you know it's coming. I want you to watch Priest, number 45 here. He's going to miss him once, and then he comes back and he ends up getting him. I mean, that's how you stay in a football play. Paul Priest has been very impressive out of Port Huron Northern High School. 3-year starter on the varsity. He's making a lot of plays here today.
Courtney Templeton is fresh for the West. He is near side.
There's Priest right there.
More flags flying. The East is starting to lose their temper just a little bit. You know, you were talking about it earlier, Ray. We were talking about the West controlling the line of scrimmage. Well, they're also controlling the clock, and by keeping the defense out there, the defense for the East is getting pretty tired too.
Yeah, and when you get tired, you get frustrated, and you're behind, and that's when the tempers will flare, and that's where you got to focus that negative energy and make you play harder and not dumber. A lot of times you get so upset, and then you do something a little extracurricular that you end up regretting, and it ends up costing your football team.
Well, it's something Ralph Carducci no doubt will talk about with his team in the locker room as we approach the 1.5-minute mark of the first half. That penalty on the West, so that'll bring up 3rd down and 10 for Dan Richard and the West offense. Man in motion, play action fake. Rolls around, looking for some help. He'll tuck it under and get drilled. Oh my, was that Don Vidas?
Marvin Bennett makes that stop.
I think that was Nash. Priest is chasing Richard, and then here comes, oh yeah, that's a huge hit from Marvin Bennett. Coming across, and he had a little help from Musa Nash as well. And you get double teamed by those two guys, and you're going to feel it.
Marvin Bennett is a pretty big size corner at 6 feet, 200 pounds. So the West will kick it away with $1:30 left to go in the first half, that is.
Good punt.
See if they run any more trickery. No, Travis Wilson sniffed it out and didn't give him a chance. A 40-yard kick, a negative return, and the East has an uphill climb. They trail 21-6 when we come back.
Because then you get a reputation.
Took the wind out of him. Hopefully we'll see Mike Gall back in on that defense for the West right now. Or offense for the West, I should say. Right now he'll watch his defense try and stop the East. Krenzel at the helm. Deep downfield, wounded duck. Bryant comes back and catches it at the 45. Great adjustment. 34-yard pickup. Krenzel to Bryant, who will hook up in Columbus starting next year. Great adjustment by the All-State wide receiver from Harrison.
Yeah, and that's all Bryant is what it is. And now they're running a hurry up. trying to get it going and take advantage of it.
Krenzel's got to hurry back. He was given a pretty good pop as he released it. 1:08 left to go in the first half. He in the East trail 21-6. Quick slant into Ilul. He's got to get to the sideline and is hog-tied from behind after the pickup of 8.
And that was the illegal motion on the East, but it wasn't called, so they got a break there because they had guys going down into a 3-point on the snap count.
Adam Sipanowski brings him down from behind. Now 2nd down and 2. Plenty of time, 39 seconds. Krenzel will throw again. Quick drop, lobs it up top, looking for Ford and out of bounds. And again, he takes another hit, this time from John Shantz.
And Krenzel paid for it. But let's go back to that completion to Bryant, which is all Bryant. Now here he is. He's on the weak side away from the rollout, and now he's going to cut it over to the middle of the field. He's not really primary on this one. He's got his man beat running down the field. That's Brandon Munson, but he does a great job of adjusting to the ball. Now look at him. I mean, he's wild in there, but he's got to take care of the football. That's the only thing that scares you when he's on the field like that, holding that ball with one hand. They'll cure him of that in a big hurry over there at Ohio State, I guarantee you.
The post turns into a curl, and of course Krenzel will go to the huddle and say, boy, good read. Of course, we're going to be doing that next year. Ford, inside handoff. Inside the 30-yard line. 25 seconds left to go in this first half of play, and the clock continues to run, and now it stops at 23.
And it's dangerous in there for everybody. I want you to watch this guy right here in the stripes, because he doesn't move, and he's kind of like frozen in the tracks, and now all of a sudden he's caught up in it. Give him an assist, and also he got clipped. Did his flag come out? I didn't see.
If he could have reached for it, he probably would, but Travis Wilson's drilling him from behind didn't help. The East calls a quick timeout to talk about it, and you would think, Ray, they'll call a couple of plays here probably.
Well, you have, I think, your best opportunity is to put Ford wide and to put Bryant wide, go max protection with everybody else, and just throw it up and let those guys go get it. That's what I would do at this point. The other thing is that they've run it a couple of times and they haven't gotten to it yet, is run that tight end Zarecki across and do the throwback. Have everything else come in one way and go back the other.
Shock are hoping to come back after a couple of setbacks. Tune in for exciting WNBA action as the Shock host the Minnesota Lynx from the Palace of Auburn Hills. Our live coverage tips Wednesday at 7:30 exclusively on Fox Sports Net Detroit. Hope you can join Matthew Lawrence and me Wednesday night for that matchup. Nancy Lieberman Klein's club just pulling off a huge trade, sending Cindy Brown and Corey Halady to the Utah Stars. Now, plenty of stars here at Michigan State in the 19th annual Michigan High School Football All-Star Game. Craig Krenzel under center, staring at a 1st down and 10. Ball resting on the 28-yard line. He and his East trailing 21-6 with just 23 ticks left to go in the first half.
Ricky Bryant's down here. Watch out for him.
That's where he's looking. He'll loft it up. Bryant looks over his shoulder, reaches, and it's just a little bit too far. Boy, you called it. You called it.
So out and up, and that's where I would go. You go to the fastest guy in the field, the most explosive guy on the field, throw it up and give him a chance to get it. The protection is good. They went max protection, left the fullback in, and then they throw it up there. And I tell you, Bryant isn't far from closing down on that one either.
Definitely had Moncrief Wedlow beat to the far side.
There he is again.
And they are one-on-one there, man on man. See if he does a post this time. Krenzel will roll near side. Looking for some help. He's got to get rid of it. He'll throw that one deep to Zarecki. Came down with it, but out of bounds. Those two hooked up on the first touchdown drive of the ball game. The very first possession, Krenzel and Zarecki hooked up for a touchdown score.
And I tell you what, if Krenzel throws it a little sooner, he's got himself a touchdown here. But instead, he lets it drag out and ends up throwing it too far. What a grab from Zarecki, going up tall over the 2 defenders and bringing it in. It just happened a little too late for him.
Zarecki will play for Rick Rasnick in the Eastern Michigan Eagles this coming fall. And now a 3rd down and 10 situation with 10 seconds left. Should they fail here, it'll be an interesting decision. for Carducci and his staff on what they do on 4th down. Michael Tennessee in motion. Fake to him. Krenzel. Deep drop. Across the middle to Ford and incomplete. Threw it a little bit behind him. And that'll bring up 4th down with 5 ticks left to go in the first half.
And it was just good coverage. Devin Quinn along with Eric Gardner back there. And, you know, when you know they're throwing the ball, it makes it a little easier for pass coverage. And they just did a nice job of closing this thing up. So I think you're going to get a long field goal try.
Well, Ben Holder, who is the kicker for the East, his longest field goal was 41 yards this year. He will not come out, though.
I think it's Zarecki.
It is. It's Kevin Zarecki, who has punted in this ball game, played tight end, and now will attempt a field goal of 46 yards.
And Zarecki, 5 for 5 in high school in field goal tries. I don't know that he had any from this far out, though.
Good snap, good hold. The kick is good. Oh, that's a thrill. He has accounted for all 9 points for the East.
That was just great execution. The snap, the hold, the kick. Way to go, Zarecki.
They go to the locker room, at least with some momentum. A 46-yard field goal from Kevin Zarecki out of Dearborn Edsel Ford. He has 9. The West has 21. We take a quick timeout here on the Spartans Stadium turf. An exciting first half of play that has seen special teams become a factor, the defense and offense as well. Don't go away. Our halftime festivities continue on Fox Sports Net Detroit. Wins. Welcome back to Michigan State University. At the break, the West boasting bragging rights so far in the first 24 minutes of play. They lead it 21-9, along with former NFL great Ray Bentley. My name is Matt Shepard. It really didn't start out this way, though. The East took control early, didn't they?
They did. They drove it down and scored the first touchdown. In fact, here it is. We're going to take a look at it. And the quarterback, Sorgi, on a bootleg action. Looks like he's in trouble here, but he finds Zarecki, his tight end, open in the end zone, goes up and makes a huge catch. And now the East is up. They draw first blood, but the West answers back.
Answer with 3 straight and do it just about any way you would want.
And Bridges just runs to the corner of the end zone, out races everybody. There's a touchdown. And then Gardner on the punt return. And this is just all Gardner. He breaks it. Eric Gardner goes the distance, some 94 yards. He got a couple of blocks, but mostly it's just his raw speed taking this thing all the way to the house. And when you get to the house, what do? Hey, you jump on each other and you get around, you have a little fun.
That made it 14-6, a big block by Devin Quinn, and things stayed that way for the West in the second quarter.
Well, this is just a great execution of a trap play, and Chenard runs it outside, made a couple of very nice cuts on that play. In fact, I want to break that one down for you. This is such a nice play. Now, here's your tackle, Patrick. I want you to watch him. He's going to run the trap block. They're going to fake it in here, and the guy who's going to get it on the misdirection right there is Jason Chenard. And he's going to make a couple of cuts that are outstanding. Here's the first one. He cuts up here, and then he's going to break it out that way as well. Watch these 2 cuts that he makes. These are big time right here. Boom. And then the second one, and now the wheels to get outside and get it into the end zone. A nice run and nice execution from the West. And there's Jason Chenard. Now let's take a look at the touchdown at the bootleg. Here's the tight end who ends up making the catch, Zarecki. Now they're going to run a little play action over here. And I want you to watch the quarterback, Sorgi, runs into his own man right there. And now he's kind of lost. What do I do? But he keeps the eyes upfield, and he sees his receiver doing jumping jacks in the end zone. He throws a nice ball, and it's Zarecki for the touchdown. And, of course, after you get a touchdown, everyone goes in there and does their own jumping jacks.
Stats are a little deceiving, right?
Yeah, they really don't tell you anything. Now, the passing yards for the East, they got these all kind of at the end on that last drive where they ended up getting the field goal. But the big difference in this game, a 21-9 game, I think, is that 94-yard return by Eric Gardner with the punt.
East originally had 79 yards rushing. You subtract 25 because of the sacks. That's where you get the 54. We have 24 minutes left to play in this 19th annual East-West All-Star game. The West are hoping to stay in control. They lead it 21-9. Come on back to MSU after this. A cool breeze has welcomed the people here inside Spartan Stadium and welcomed the teams back out of the locker room. It's welcomed by everybody. The West leads the East 21-9. We'll see if Mother Nature continues to have an effect on the game. Let's check in with Jamie Samuelson on the West sidelines. Jamie?
Matt, it was 130 when this game started down here on the turf. As you can see now, 94. I'm joined by West head coach Ralph Munger. A cool 94. Coach, how has the temperature affected the game so far in your eyes?
Well, I think, you know, we've kept the kids hydrated quite well, and we got a great training staff here that MSU has provided us with. And, you know, kids are a lot smarter than they used to be when I used to play anyway. So no salt tablets, a lot of water, 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 water.
Water, water, water. Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half. That's the story on the west sideline. Let's go to the east sideline now and Shireen Saski.
Thanks a lot, Jamie. And over on the east side, things started hot for your offense. They cooled down a little bit at the end of the first half. What are you looking to change in the second half?
Well, we talked about not shooting ourselves in the foot, so to speak. We had a lot of penalties in the first half. We fumbled the ball a couple of times. We had some good drives going, and then we just kind of shot ourselves in the foot. So execution is the key for the second half. If we do that, we're going to be okay.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck. Let's throw it up to Matt Shepard.
All right, Shireen, the East passing for 125 yards in that first half of play, rushing for just 54. Their biggest problem, they were sacked 3 times for a setback of 25 yards. Now, the East will receive here to start this second half, and it's one of the rules, Ray Bentley, because of that 12-point rule. They are beyond that, and they have the option to get the ball first, and they'll take advantage of it.
Right, they're down by exactly 12, so they get the first crack at it here, and it'll be interesting to see if they discontinue shooting themselves in the foot, as Coach Carducci said, and he's absolutely right. A lot of penalties hurt them that first half.
Phil Brabs hits his leg into one. C.J. Krieger. They ran this in the first half with success. Michael Tennessee trying to cut back across the grain and has dropped at the 15-yard line. That's where the East offense will set up shop.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And the West wasn't going to be fooled again by the old fake on the kickoff return as far as who had the football. They were ready for that.
Now the success the East has had on offense really has been with Jim Sorgi triggering it, the 6'5", 185-pounder out of Frazier, and who's headed to Wisconsin. 3 times out of 5 tries, he's completed a pass and has that touchdown toss. Michael Tennessee has logged a lot of carpet time too.
Oh, big hit.
Or Banchik with his first carry of the ball game and stuck immediately.
Yeah, this is what you like to hear. Matt Vincenzi comes up from the linebacker spot, number 80. He's going to fill up your screen right there. I mean, that's just a huge hit, stepping up and taking on a dive play, how you like it done.
You used to do it that way, Ray Bentley.
Yeah, that's why I get excited when I see that.
He was a defensive MVP in the UP for Class A, B, and C out of Iron Mountain, which is a double C class. Proven he can play with the big fellas as well. Sorgi staring at a 2nd down and 9. Deep fake to Tennessee. Backside pressure. He got it away. Ford is down there. Picked off by Gardner. Eric Gardner has had a huge afternoon defensively and on the special team.
And Gardner's just playing middle safety, center field on that, and he just reads it very well and just steps over and makes a play. Here he is. He's just playing center field. He sees everything going this way. He starts to flow, and then he shows you that speed that we saw earlier. Now, if the pass is thrown out here where it should be, that'll be a completion to Ford. See how Ford's going to have to turn back to the football? So if it's thrown to the sideline, more than likely Ford makes the grab. But because the pass isn't thrown out wide enough, it's an interception by Gardner.
Yeah, Sorgi really wanted to deliver that, where if he threw it too far, Ford would be the only one who could miss it. Instead, he missed inside. And now we'll see if the West can take advantage. They continue to move the ball. They go north and south rather than east and west. As Dan Richard completes yet another pass, a 12-yard pickup.
First down, West.
And that's L.J. Parker who makes the grab again, but he didn't put the ball away. And that, you know, they're going to be talking to him down in Indiana about how you put the ball away when you run with it. Some of these guys, they do have huge hands, and they're strong, and they think they can carry it out there like that. But they got to realize the other guys are bringing it too, and you got to protect that football.
You get a full look at him at Grand Rapids, Ottawa Hills. Pump fake by Richard. He'll go up top. Down the right side. Just a little bit long for Templeton. Good defense by Matt Murray.
Yeah, Murray did a nice job of staying with it. He kind of bought on that pump fake a little bit, but then stayed with it and carried Templeton out past there. And there is a flag, I believe, late on this play.
That's the 2nd incomplete pass of the afternoon for Dan Richard. And a flag on the play.
Yeah, they'll back the West up. It was a holding call on the pass play.
Talking with Shante Orr, the defensive captain for the East, who really need a stop here. They trail 21-9, and that turnover, let's see if it's costly or not.
Ball 46. First down.
You see the miscues by the East and West. East with 2 more, but the yardage, big differential there. Richard with an inside handoff. It goes to Damian Bridges. Gets a lot of that penalty yardage back. Gain of 9.
Yeah, that's the same play that the West scored the touchdown with Chenard. This time it's Bridges running it, but you're going to get a pulling tackle right here. Patrick steps up into that hole, and he just makes, I mean, that's a pancake block he throws down, and it makes it real easy for Bridges to pick up good yardage. That was just a pancake from Joe Patrick.
A lot of fun for Dan Richard to turn around and see guys like Tim James, Damian Bridges, Mario Adams, all well over 1,200 yards in the ground this year for their respective schools. Richard with an audible. Kid from behind. Mario Adams spins loose. Keeps the legs churning up toward the first down marker.
That's that trick play that I talked about, the old reach around draw play. Watch Adams, he's just going to sit there, and the ball's going to sneak in from the backside. Boom, slip it in right there. And now he sits there and waits, and then he goes, and you see defenders running by him. They don't even realize he has the football. You mentioned my old Hudsonville Eagle days, and we used to run that one to perfection back in those glory days.
Were you handing it off, getting it, or cheering him on?
I was the quarterback handing it off. I was too slow to actually run with the ball.
Richard's done a nice job playing that one out. And he didn't get this one off in time. 25-second clock expired on him. Second time that's happened to him this afternoon. Jason Chenard is checked into the ball game for the West in place of Tim James. So we boasted about the East's skill positions, but the West is coming at them in waves, and a lot of guys have proven themselves here this afternoon.
Well,
Chenard checks back out.
You know, for skill positions, Matt, you got to have the big guys, the horses up front, giving guys room to show those skills, and that's what you've gotten from the West team.
Really don't like the term skill position anyway, because the guys, the big nasties up front, are just as skillful. Richard, a bullet, but that one skipped to him. Templeton, the intended receiver, but it's incomplete.
And so it brings up a 4th down, and it'll be interesting to see what Coach Munger decides to do on this.
Now Tom Perez is his kicker. But I think this is a little bit out of his range, and so does Coach Munger. Dan Richard in a hurry. Templeton will throw it too. Wide open. He can waltz into the end zone. L.J. Parker and the West go into their bags of tricks and pick up a 31-yard touchdown score, and the West is threatening to run away.
That's another one of those trick plays that we talked about. It's a lateral. That's the key. This pass, his first pass, has to be backwards to make him be able to throw, make Templeton be able to throw the ball. Now he very easily just throws it down to L.J. Parker. Parker waltzes into the end zone. But the key to that, it has to be a lateral, the original throw.
Who's happier, Courtney Templeton to get the touchdown toss, or L.J. Parker on the receiving end?
Now that'd be a battle.
Bill Brab's extra point is right down the middle. 28-9. The West are on top big, and they've done it in all kinds of ways. Trickery is all part of the equation, isn't it? No Barry Sanders out here, but a lot of Barry Sanders wannabes. Jim Sorgi just wants to climb his Eastern club back into this ball game. They trail 28-9. They've been taken out of it ever since that late first quarter and early second quarter surge by the West. Michael Tennessee tries the far side. Not a whole lot happening there. Maybe a pickup of 1.
Just good pursuit from the West defense. I mean, they're running all over the field, and it's going to be real hard for the East to carry this load the way the West is playing defense right now.
Well, you see what he has done at his career at Sterling Heights Stevens, and what is not mentioned there is that he rushed for 456 yards in 1997 in one game against Chippewa Valley. After that, he had a chance to meet Barry Sanders and talk with a number of Lions at the Lions practice the next week.
It's an incredible effort.
Sorgi rolling near side, looking, finding List, but he dropped it. And a pretty good defensive play. That time down by the West. Let's have the captain, Josh Tarbox.
Yeah, Josh Tarbox all over the receiver, Chad List. And you're going to see it's a bootleg, and you're going to get receivers coming over from that side again. This is what they've been trying to do. And now they're going to throw it out here, and this is tight coverage. You don't see, there's no separation between those guys. That's color on color right there. Tarbox with great patience right here. Patience. Don't put your hands on him, and now get up there. Knock that ball out. He does a nice job of getting a hand on it.
Got that left paw in there to knock it away. Third down and 9.
That actually was a mistake, too. He should have used that backfield hand. Use the upfield hand.
Sorgi with a pump to List. Looking downfield. He'll go the other side to Alul and picked off. He had Tony Alul wide open on the far side. Instead, he forced it down the middle. And an interception by the West. Their second of the ball game. John Carafa picks it off from his strong safety position.
And in Carafa, all he does is, again, is play center field. I mean, here he is right here. You got a receiver in your eye, and now you just go get the football. He does a nice job of laying out and making the catch. But Sorgi is bumming right now, because not only did he take a hit, but he threw his second interception of this half. And similar throws where he just kind of throws it up for grabs, and the defender, like an outfielder, runs underneath it.
And it's not like they can go to the bullpen either. I told you about Craig Krenzel's problem, the pulled groin. Problem for the East is their defense is logging a lot of time out there. Tim James just punished him on the far side for a pickup of 6.
And you heard a lot of pads cracking over there. And even though, you know, as we're getting close to the fourth quarter, these guys are still playing hard and going after it on each side of the ball. That's why they're all-stars.
24 seconds left to go in this third frame with the West comfortably in command. They lead it 28-9.
I don't think Cox has thrown a ball all day.
He might have tried to, but he had that fumble. There's more movement. No, there's not. Cox just waited. Almost like a quarterback delay. He tried the far side, and there wasn't a whole lot there for him.
I don't know if that one's in the playbook or not. And if it's not,
if it is, throw it out.
Don't put it in. If it is, yeah, throw it out. I mean, there's a snap, and it's kind of just a sleeper play. Like, wait a minute, everyone's standing around. All right, I'll try to run. And that seldom works.
Yeah, it sure does, especially when you put the quarterback out to dry on the far side. He doesn't want to run that again, but whatever the West is doing right now, it's working, folks. They lead 28-9 and are 12 minutes away from raising the roof and boasting game-winning honors on Fox Sports Net Detroit. East have had their problems primarily because of the short drives. They put together 3 now in the second half, a minute or less. They've only had the ball 4 times. Meanwhile, Dan Richard and the West are looking at closing them down. One more just might do it.
Oh, Matt, you could say that the East offense isn't getting it done, but you could also say the West defense is getting it done, and I think that's a large part of it.
I agree there. Courtney Templeton is the near side wide receiver. Richard looks to the near side.
It's a lateral.
Quick throw out to the tailback. Let's see what the West plan is here on this second down and long.
All right, Matt, thanks. I'm here at Bird's Eye View with Coach Ralph Mungy as he goes out and tries to get an explanation and call the next play. We'll listen in right now.
Rock, right. Got a rock screen here, hopefully over the middle, and see what happens. Screen middle of one of the wideouts. Inside like Ishmael used to run for Notre Dame.
Is that what you call the rock?
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense. Easy to remember. Matt Shepard will see if it works and send it right back up to you.
Good insight, Jamie. Thanks a lot. We'll see if Dan Richard and the rest of that West offense, who everything they've done so far here this afternoon seems to have turned out golden for them.
Goes into the shotgun for the first time, and here's your screen guy right here.
Richard scrambling out, looking for help, and he finds Hopal at around the 43-yard line. Jamie Samuelson, did that work all right for him?
I'm not sure they got the yardage they wanted, Matt. We'll find out what's coming next, though, from Coach Ralph Mungy.
Danny, hawk right, sprint right, wrap, draw left.
All right, Coach, the last play of the Rocket, what happened there? How come it didn't take off?
Find him. He didn't find him. And Boomer looked like he was a little bit beyond the line of scrimmage, which he's not supposed to be. Hey, Boom, you got to be a half yard behind the line of scrimmage so the QB can find you. Couldn't find you. Okay, but nice catch. All right, nice catch. All right, here we go. We got a wrap draw.
The wrap draw right
to
there.
a tight end side. So it's sprint right, wrap draw left. Come on, Danny. Come on, Danny. Here we go. Here we go. Go, Mario. Go, Mario. Go, Mario. Go, Mario. Go, Mario. Grab it.
See ya.
Come on, Mario. Come on, Mario.
Touchdown, 42 yards.
Keep going, Jeff.
Mario Adams. It has worked for him all afternoon, Ray Bentley, and why not keep going to the well if it's going to give you an awful lot?
You betcha. It's been a great play for him, and Mario Adams just burst. He's going to break it outside and then show you the speed down the sideline. Here he goes. They don't see him now. Look at, he had a great block right here, a crackback block, and now it's Mario Adams in a foot race down the sidelines, and he's going to win that one.
Let me tell you something. Mario Adams told us yesterday that he plans on setting a rushing record in this All-Star game. I don't know if he's close, but I'll tell you, he just made the highlight reel. Extra point is good. 35-9. The West comfortably in control. Adams, 11 carries, 93 yards. He averages 8.5. None bigger than this touchdown spurt.
Mario Adams is the guy with the touchdown, but give the assist right here to B.J. Moss. He's going to block 2 guys on this play to break it open for Adams. Here's the first one. He takes a guy outside, and watch him come back and make this hit right here. Boom. Boom. There it goes, and now Adams is off to the races. And any back will tell you he can't get anywhere without guys throwing great blocks. Let's go down to the field now with Jamie.
All right, I'm here with the coach, and Coach, you called it. The hawk worked out perfectly.
Well, it did on that one.
What made that play work in your mind?
Well, you know, the sprint action tries to draw them one way, and then, you know, you just kind of get that ball to one of those scooters, and away they go, baby.
Well, 35-9 lead, 9-10 to go. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Matt, Ray, back up to you.
Jamie, he's got a big old smile, doesn't he? And rightfully so. That play has worked for him all afternoon, and the West is schooling the East.
He said scooters. He's got a lot of scooters on this squad. It's a scooter squad.
More trickery. Tennessee has it near side. No one is there to help him get bailed out. He's going to have to do it himself. He's doing the best he can. Tries to fight his way toward the 20, an 8-yard return. A lot more running than just 8 yards.
He did get some help from C.J. Krieger. He shifted up and just threw a huge block. He's making his presence felt out there.
Michael Tennessee has to be winded.
First down.
We talked about the amount of points. 35 by the West. That's a new record for one team anyway. Breaking the mark set back in 1989 when the East All-Stars scored 31. So the West will boast not only a victory, but a record-setting victory, if you will. Sorgi at the helm, and it continues to get worse. He dropped the snap there.
And you heard Coach Ralph Carducci from Monroe talk about it at halftime. Hey, we made so many mistakes. We've hurt ourselves with penalties and things like that. And here's just another example of it with this fumbled snap.
Birds to the right side. Hey, no. Oh! Who said birds?
Somebody just said, ho.
No. Oh,
Somebody said, ho.
Who's? Hi. I think the heat's getting to you. We're pro.
Coach Munger just never quits working down there.
Oh, I love that.
He's got a great sense of humor. He's fun to play for.
Bird, hawk, whatever. The heat's getting to his guys, but their play is getting to the East. Now they're in motion, and Carl Ford will have to jog back, and the ball moves backwards for the East again. This is the biggest blowout in All-Star history. Let's go back into that West huddle.
Let's go again. Let's go again.
Well,
you know they're enthused, but it's tough to gather up the enthusiasm with the heat and humidity here.
Step inside. Okay, step inside and seal.
Always teaching.
And the East needs to display some pride now. I mean, this is 2 plays in a row, a fumbled snap, a penalty. They have to do something to wake up and get this thing back online.
List and Ford are the wide receivers for Sorgi. Michael Tennessee in motion. Michael Tennessee just about played the entire game, right? Sorgi trying to buy himself some time, and great defensive coverage by the West defensive backfield. The Wedlows and the Munsons and the Chenards. These guys are getting the job done.
Yeah, that was just great coverage, and they've seen it. They've seen that play a number of times now, and so now the recognition is happening, and now and the front people are getting after him, and the West is clearly dominating this football game.
And you know the West is just pinning their ears back. They know the East has to throw the football. You mentioned that at the beginning of the second quarter.
Yeah, and that's fun time. Lay him back and let it rip.
List checks out. Ricky Bryant is in. He'll check on to the near side of the football field and go one-on-one with Brandon Munson out of Petoskey. Munson going to Northern Michigan. Now he'll back out. Sorgi play action. He's got some time now, but he's scrambling for his life, looking for some help. Tripped up. Good defensive play by Brad Asherman. Asherman came in, snuffed it out, tripped up the quarterback. A pickup of 4, but for the East, that is not positive at all.
Yeah, and what happens when Sorgi starts to scramble, his receivers aren't helping him out. These guys, they got to come back to him and make something happen. I want you to watch these receivers. All right, now it's going to break down right here. Now, what are these receivers doing? They're all bunched up here. Nobody's really moving to help them, and then if you can see it, then they start just standing up and holding their hands up, and nobody's really helping them get open.
They'll kick it away again. Bolzmann has been the busiest player on the East. Got a nice kind roll inside the 35 at the 33-yard line. That's where the West will set up shop. But will they have Mario Adams? I wouldn't blame him if he's winded. We know he's with Jamie Samuelson.
Matt, and I'm with Mario, pride of East Kentwood, a fellow alum of our producer, Jeff Feil. But Mario, tell me about the play. The coach called the Hawk, is that right?
Right. Hawk right, sprint right, draw left. Which means we try to get the defense to go left, and we just trapped it and went right. And it fools them every time.
And it worked to perfection, did it?
Always, always.
Now, you said yesterday that you were going to set a rushing record in this game. How about that?
Yeah, I want to do it. If I get a chance to go back out there, I'm going to set it. I'm going to make sure of it. I need another chance, though. I don't know where I'm at.
All right, we'll check on that stat, see how you're doing. And Matt Shepard and Ray Bentley can find that out for you, Matt.
11 carries, 93 yards, but maybe the most impressive thing, Jamie Samuelson and everyone, is the fact that he averages 8.5 yards per touch. In the meantime, you look at the East, and unfortunately for Ralph Carducci, he has watched his quarterback, Jim Sorgi, carry the ball 10 times out of the 29 total rushes they have so far.
Yeah, and most of those he was running for his life.
Right. Kevin Cox, his first throw, almost picked off. Boy, good read that time by the East. The defense, that time stepping up, Scott Gennard.
Yeah, Gennard would have gone the other way with that, and that's a dangerous pass anytime you're going to throw a slant. But the problem is Cox looks at it the whole way, so now he's giving up where it's going to the defender, and they can get into those passing lanes. What you want to do with that slant is maybe look the other way and then come back with it knowing that it's there.
Yeah, he's bird dogging a little bit. Second down and 10. 5:57 left to go in a ball game. Deep handoff to James. James near side, doesn't want to get out of bounds, but is forced there.
Tim James, the ball carrier.
By Krieger.
That was weird to me. It looked like James didn't even expect to get the football.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a minute, what is it? And there he is. He raised his hands and said, what? You gave me the ball.
Steve Hetzel forced him out of bounds.
Ball is the 37.
So that'll bring up second down and 10. Make it 3rd and 6, excuse me. Fun day for Ralph Munger. Ralph Carducci wishes he could say the same on the East sideline.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating for Coach Carducci to see his team come in and make all the mistakes that they've made.
James in the slot. He gets the inside handoff. An opening. Popped there by Hetzel and dropped.
Yeah, they didn't get a lot of yards, but they got a great block out of Brad Sinclair on this, the tackle trap. I mean, there's another pancake. We've seen some pancakes today. We just got another one out of Sinclair.
Cox getting some direction from Ralph Munger. I would think they would want to keep it on the ground unless they want to give Kevin an opportunity to air it out just a little bit, considering he has not had the chance to throw the football that much. That, of course, next time they get the ball. Right now, they're getting ready to punt it away. Tom Perez will kick deep to 3 members of the East squad. Fumbles it a little bit, but no pressure. Line drive. Had a lot more time than he thought. Picked up on the run at the 30. Just nowhere to go for these guys. That's the only problem. Ryan Wagner did a good job fielding it on the run. He just couldn't weave his way between the defenders, and we have more laundry on the Spartan Stadium turf.
Well, yeah, they're going at it big time. I know Travis Wilson with the West is down in there, and I can't make out who he's going with. Looks like Essa.
Essa, yeah. A couple of big fellas going toe-to-toe. A down lineman and a backer.
Yeah, that's what happens in a football game. I mean, they're going after it, and the tempers will fly, and you don't condone it, but you certainly aren't surprised by it.
They will sort some things out. You know, we haven't had an opportunity to talk much about a lot of the East players as Sorgi gets his directions from Ralph Carducci. What do you think he's telling them here, Ray Bentley?
Let's have some pride, I think, is what we're talking about right now, and let's come out here, and with 5 minutes left, let's finish this thing strong and give our best effort here. We got some makeups to give.
Well, there you see Nick Brzezinski. We haven't called his name a whole lot. We sure did during the season, though. The all-state tight end out of Catholic Central, leading the Shamrocks to a state championship, and you had it right here on Fox Sports Net Detroit at the Silverdome. Had a couple of catches for 47 yards, including this 35-yard bomb against Rockford. Had a touch, this a great catch right there. Also had a touchdown catch of 12 yards right here. CC celebrating back-to-back championships. The first to ever do that at that level. They beat Rockford 27-23, but Ralph Munger of the West squad is maybe getting the final laugh here against Nick Brzezinski and company. Brzezinski, of course, on his way to Duke. His brother played at Boston College and was a third-round draft pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. Some consider Brzezinski the best tight end in Michigan high school history.
He sure is a great one, but I'll tell you this, Ralph Munger would trade any all-star victory for a state championship any given day. He's glad to win this one, but he sure would have liked to win the one at the Silverdome just a little bit after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, his Rockford Rams played him tough, and of course he had his quarterback at the helm, Dan Richard, who has had a fine football game.
He has.
Here this afternoon in this all-star game. Has helped the West to a 35-9 lead. The East scored first. A quick drive. Their offense looked unstoppable on the first drive. They missed a trick two-point conversion, and after that, it has been all West because Richard was able to counterpunch, and they scored 21 unanswered. They took a 21-9 halftime lead and have built it from there here in the second half. Sorgi to Ford to Alul, who drops it. It's loose on the carpet. Who wants it?
Fumble on the carpet.
The East fortunate enough to get it back. It's gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, this is a huge disappointment for the East team right now. They can't. I mean, they haven't done anything this whole second half. Now here's they're trying for a little reverse, a little trick play, and Alul just drops the ball. I mean, it was handed right into the breadbasket, and he just dropped it.
There's Sorgi, who has logged a lot of playing time because of the injury to Craig Krenzel, and you have to wonder how much that's hurt this East squad, if at all, right?
You know, I think it has hurt him. Definitely it's hurt him because Krenzel comes in with the big arm and you know, the history of making plays, and now you miss that guy.
Sorgi trying to make a play here. A quick out to Ford and watches it go right through his hands. They're dropping balls. They're dropping handoffs. They're missing blocks and missing assignments, and that's why the East is on the downside of this big blowout, the biggest blowout in all-star history.
Yeah, they really haven't done anything at all that you could be happy about here in the second half. Nothing to be excited about, and it's just been kind of one mistake after another. And just in the plays in this series, you got the fumble, and you got a drop pass on the last one, and then, you know, it becomes very disappointing.
You got 2 interceptions, and of course, we haven't even touched on the number of penalties and for how much yardage. And penalties at key points, too, I might add. Maybe when they're driving. Had a setback. Sorgi looking for some help. Nothing but red jerseys in front of him. Boy, was he taking a lick by Devin Quinn.
And Krosky got him as well.
Tim Sorgi keeps the ball.
Krosky getting a chance to work on the other side of the ball.
Sorgi has good vision, good scrambling ability. Now everyone's covered up again, and that's another part of it. And now here it comes. This is free lunch time. The guys start getting after the quarterback. Everyone loves a free lunch.
Krosky loves that. This kid benches 380 and will go to CMU next year. And Ralph Carducci with the headsets off, hands on his hips, wondering what in the world has gone wrong. Pretty good kick and a nice bounce for the East. If there's any consolation, it will rest right around the 25-yard line, and the West will have a long way to go. But they own the upper hand, 35-9. Just 3 minutes and change left to go in this regulation game, the 19th annual East-West All-Star game. Well, the East has had a long afternoon. As a matter of fact, if you look at the stats, and stats can oftentimes lie, Ray Bentley, the East has gained 245 total yards, the West 246.
Well, we should have a one-point ball game then.
Not even close.
Yeah, we have a one-yard ball game is what we have. And what strikes me is I look over on the East sideline, I see a lot of guys sitting down, towels draped over their heads, and their daubers are definitely down. And then you go over to the West sideline, and everybody's standing up. They're still into the ball game, and that reflects itself on the scoreboard as well, with the West with a 35-9 lead.
Well, the West is getting ready to kick it away. Not that they mind doing that. The East will try and save face just a little bit. Just 9 points, all in the first half of play. A touchdown on the first possession, a field goal in the second quarter. Well, that's been it. C.J. Krieger fighting for extra yardage, a 35-yard punt, and a 7-yard return for the East.
Damian Bridges and Mike Holloway on the staff.
C.J. Krieger has been one of the guys who has impressed me on this East team. He's had several big hits throughout the day, and you saw him fighting for the extra yards on that thing. There's no quit in C.J. Krieger, and he's headed to Hillsdale College, and he'll be a good player at that level.
No question. You see the East bench with their helmets off and disappointment on their faces. They have been licked here this afternoon and licked pretty good. Shante Orr and that defense have logged an awful lot of time out there, more than they expected. Sorgi with a straight drop back. Rolling and finding Zarecki. Far side, first down. Pickup of 11. And under 2 minutes to go.
John Carpa on the staff.
Snaps a long string for
yeah, he had quite a spell going there, didn't he? That was a nice execution of the route, though. I mean, a roll out to the right, and you got your tight end running away from coverage. Good pass, good execution. Too little, too late.
I would think Barry Alvarez would like to see Jim Sorgi drop back just a little bit quicker. His feet got to take him back on that 7-step drop a little bit quicker than what he did there. Been forced out of the pocket an awful lot here this afternoon, though. Again, chased. Incomplete to Elul. Pressure that time.
Incomplete.
Yeah, that came from Mulcahy. Mulcahy, the nose guard, who had a couple big hits earlier, just blows through the line. You're going to see him right here, the nose guard. He has a little hand move, and now he's chasing him down. And Mulcahy can get it going for a big guy. He chased Sorgi right down to the bench.
Yeah, again, continues to get flushed out of the pocket. Mulcahy, pound for pound, maybe the best player that Steve Ordisky's ever coached. Strong, quick, relentless, squatty at 5'11", but he carries 258 pounds of beef on that frame. Sorgi, a quick slant to the right side for Ford. Well, he wanted to get out of bounds there. Instead, he is driven back toward the inner part of the field. Of course, with the clock winding down, maybe the East just figures forget about it. Their afternoon is just about over. Guys like Michael Tennessee will take their talents to the next level. For Tennessee, it's Grand Valley State.
Here we come. They sure would like to get some more points on the board. In the West, they're getting ready to celebrate.
Oh, they're happy. They're happy. Look at, they're taking their pads off. Eric Gardner's done for the afternoon. He's had a big afternoon, special team-wise and defensively.
All right, punt return for a touchdown and an interception in this game.
94 yards to pay dirt for that punt return. That's a record here. Sorgi lofts it for Ford, over Bennett, and out of bounds. Under a minute to go now, 57 ticks left. These guys, you know, on the West, they'd like to keep it at that 9 points and
You betcha.
boast the fact that here in the second half that they were not scored upon.
Yeah, and I think Brandon Munson gets away with one here because he gets the hands on Ford before the ball gets there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit early on that, but they let it go. And I was watching the official on that, and he's got a nice seat down there. He was watching the football instead of watching the players. And I think concentration has kind of waned a little bit down on the field.
You wonder if the ref was thinking whether it was catchable or not. Chad List, the near side wide receiver. Elul on the far side in the slot. Split backfield for Sorgi. He's staring at a 4th down and 7. Could be the last offensive play for the East. Boy, how appropriate would have been if he was sacked. Rolling near side. He needs help, and he's not getting it. Oh, my goodness. Devin Quinn from the backside out of Traverse City, St. Francis, just rocked Jim Sorgi's world, and Sorgi remains down.
Yeah, that's a scary hit. That was a huge hit. And the flag came in late after that because there was, I think, a late hit coming from Vargo, Curtis Vargo. Well, watch this hit. Bam, right at the end there, and that's Devin Quinn coming in, and then you got the late hit. And there's going to be another late hit coming in after that even. There it goes right there, and that's Curtis Vargo who put a hit on Mulcahy late, and that's your flag.
Right.
You hope it's just a wind knocked out and nothing any more severe than that.
Well, you're wondering if Sorgi thinks he's in Madison or realize he's in East Lansing.
Is it Camp Randall?
Right. Well, we remember the East has already lost one quarterback. And Ralph Carducci, the head coach of the East, the head man in Monroe's football program, comes out to see what's going on. They will.
The injured player, Jim Sorgi.
All right, I want you to get your ears on and listen to this hit. That hurt up here.
That's crunch time. Feels good for the defender, but for the guy who's being hit, of course, no place he.
I tell you, on a hit that hard, sometimes it doesn't even feel good for the defender. I mean, you hit somebody that hard, hit him so hard you hurt yourself.
Yeah. Well, the West is just waiting out these final 46 seconds. They're getting ready to hoist the trophy. They need a 35-9. Well, somewhat good news for Jim Sorgi, University of Wisconsin, and the East All-Stars. He is getting some help, and appears that he's well enough to walk to the sidelines with some assistance, but he took a heck of a hit from Devin Quinn on the last play.
He did. It's good to see that he looks like he's moving all right. He's going to be okay.
The only thing left to be accomplished is Mario Adams establishing the record for number of yards in a game. He has the ball now loose on the carpet. Vidas jumps on it for the East. I don't know if they have anyone to take a snap, Ray Bentley.
Well, they've got a lot of guys on that team who have played quarterback. You know, they'll find someone who can take a snap. And then a late flag came out, and it looked like Brad Mitchell, number 7 for the East, was involved in some kind of altercation. This would be like the 4th unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the East, so they haven't handled their humbling very well.
Let's see who's going to take the snap for the East, as they want to let the clock dwindle down from this 38 seconds that is left. See the unsportsmanlike conduct against on the East squad, number 7, Brad Mitchell. Here's the Gatorade, the Powerade moment, I should say.
Yeah, you gotta love that. Anytime you can throw one at the coach, you gotta love that.
Ralph Munger doesn't mind, not only because it's hot and humid, but because it's in victory. No problems there.
Finish with class.
Well, the quarterback for the East
You're in the 50, guys.
will be Carl Ford.
When we're done.
Ralph Carducci, his head coach, is on the sideline and has decided to let his man take over and get rid of these final 38 seconds.
I love what Ralph Munger just said to his team. Let's finish with class.
Yeah. Ford on a rollout. Throwing, crossed the grain, intended for Brzezinski, but behind him at the 45-yard line. And all that does is Allow 5 seconds to roll off.
Is incomplete. Second down.
Can't help but wonder if Dan Richard feels a little vindication, knowing that he was on the short end of that state final championship game, but at least will walk away a winning quarterback here.
I'm sure he does, and he's got to feel good about his performance today, because I can't think of a mistake that Dan Richard made. It was all good.
Now Dan Richard completed 2 of 4 passes for 24 yards. But more importantly, I think he moved his football team when they needed to be moved.
Yeah, he ran that offense very nicely.
Carl Ford running around in the offensive backfield looking for some help. He's got Subanowski chasing him down. Oh, and he lofts it up for anybody's ball. Picked off. Third interception thrown by the East.
Wedlow got his.
Wedlow and Darren Smith were down there trying to get a paw on it, and Wedlow comes away with it. Let's see what the West do now. 18 seconds left. Adams is back in, and again, he needs about roughly, unofficially, 12 yards for the All-Star record. But you wonder if Ralph Munger, who just talked to his team with finishing with class, if they'll just take a knee.
Yeah, I don't see any harm in just handing the ball off again.
I agree. I mean, go for it.
But you know, the last time Adams fumbled the thing, so
yeah.
you know,
Now they'll give it to him. He's pretty close. He's got it now. He's a prophet. Mario Adams
the ball
picks up 18 on his final carry of the afternoon. And he has established a new Michigan High School Coaches Association All-Star rushing record. 114 yards unofficially.
So they got the win and the record.
Wow. He told us yesterday as we watched practice, that was his plan. The plan all along for the West, to win the ball game. They did it, and they did it convincingly. 35-9 the wrap-up. We'll talk with the winners and have the trophy presentation when we come back to Spartan Stadium on Fox Sports Net Detroit after this. The West wins it going away 35-9. Let's join in the trophy presentation with our own Shireen Saski and Byron Carter, who will hand it over to West head coach Ralph Munger.
Matt. Well, I'm down here with Byron Carter, the representative from the UAW International and General Motors. He is proud to present the trophy to the West winning coach, Ralph Munger.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the UAW International Union and General Motors Corporation, I'm so proud to be here today, be a part of this event. I thank all of the athletes, the cheerleaders, band members, the parents, and the fans and coaches who have come together today to put this fine event on. I think it goes to say that, as our motto, assembly line to goal line, teamwork wins. And I think the West team demonstrated teamwork.
Congratulations, Coach.
Oh, stay down, man.
Your thoughts on the week in general?
Well, it was a great week. Wonderful staff. The guys really worked hard. I believe that we gelled as a group and a team rather than a bunch of individuals. And we played hard today, 44-1. And hey, this one's ours.
Congratulations, Coach. Now let's send it to Jamie Samuelson.
West Pride on 3. 1, 2, 3, West Pride.
All right, Shireen, a little redemption for Ralph Munger, whose Rockford Ball Club lost the state championship to CC at the Silverdome today. The West blows out the East 35-9, their 9th win in the storied history of this All-Star game. Our next coverage of high school football on Fox Sports Sports Net Detroit will be November 26th and 27th with the MHSAA Championship games from the Pontiac Silverdome. On behalf of my partner Ray Bentley, on the sidelines for Shireen Sasky and Jamie Samuelson, my name is Matt Shepard saying so long from Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. Again, the final score, the West All-Stars 35, the East All-Stars 9. You've been watching the Michigan High School East-West All-Star football game on Fox Sports Net Detroit. So long, everybody. Have a great weekend.